I want to be sedated. Woo! I was just listening to the Ramones because today was the very last day, 1996, the last concert by the Ramones at the Palace in Hollywood, California. I was reminiscing that of all of my people always ask, "What's your favorite concert? What's your favorite this was for this?" And it's always so hard to pinpoint. And I always say they're all my favorites, but I do have a very very high ranking one. So one of my all time whoops, wait, hold on, what's going on here? I don't want this to end, not yet. I must have hit a button or something. Okay. Anyway, one of my all time Aloha Don. One of my all time favorite experiences was having lunch with the Ramones. I believe it was in 1994, and the Ramones came down to the radio station. This is when we were still located at the old CD 101 location at 1721 South High Street in the little brick building. The bars on the windows and studio next to the entry door and just crazy stuff. That's where Joe Walsh used to come visit as well. But Alex May, the record rep at the time, Alex is gone, so are most of the Ramones. But they came down to the station and let's get lunch. I'm like, okay. And this was very early. I'm a 20 something and go hang out with the Ramones. And I'm like, okay. Now I had seen the Ramones play it like in New Jersey and New York. I saw them play at like CBGB's. I saw them play at Rutgers. And I've recanted this story before. One of my favorites ever was watching Joey Ramone stand on stage with a bunch of frat boys out in a field at Rutgers University. My buddy was going to college and he's just sitting there playing away and someone throws a beer and hits him with like a giant beer, like right everywhere, it just splashes. Just does this. It goes right back to playing. It was just, that's exactly what you would expect. But going out, they wanted to get fish. And at the time, the only place that did fish is the Claremont restaurant. And the Claremont was the who's who of business people when it came to all the politicos. So like that's where all the judges went, and all the state reps and all the people that were at the State House, because it was just down the street from all of those things. So it was a kind of a suit and tie lunch place. And we go in there, the Ramones are in their, usual black leather. Joey's got his little purple glasses on. And we sit down, and I'm sitting right next to Joey Ramone, like as close as I am at a restaurant to anybody else. And to say I was a little starstruck, I was a little starstruck. I will admit that one. Because again, I was young and it was the Ramones and I was a fan and it was just like, this is amazing. I remember what he ordered because it stuck out so much to me. So again, you're thinking the Ramones, like, just like they're rock stars, they're rock bands, they're going to be crazy. So they wanted to go and get fish. Okay, cool. That's fish. That's fine. So I don't remember what anybody else ordered, including myself. But I do remember that Joey Ramone ordered red snapper. That'd be great. And what's your vegetable today? Brussels sprouts. Oh, I'll have extra. And I was just like, because me personally can't do Brussels sprouts and the smell makes me want to like die. So I'm just like, okay. So he gets that. Do you have a tea box? Of course we do, sir. And they bring out the tea box. And he opens up and he has oolong tea. So red snapper, Brussels sprouts, and oolong tea for lunch. Joey Ramone. This was like 1994. And again, and then that night they played a show at the Newport Music Hall, which was just insane. I remember it was just, it was so hot because it has no air conditioning and so sweaty. And the ceiling was dripping like raindrops from the condensation from all the kids dancing and screaming and just going crazy for the Ramones. And I always, I have an autographed flat that was lost in time forever framed. That is one of the things that I will absolutely not sell, but I have an autographed flat and the tickets from that show that I'll have to bring home and show everybody at some point. But it was just crazy. So it's one of my fondest in the ranking of musical acts and shows that I've seen. The Ramones was always one of the greats, but that was a really good one. So yes, on this day, 1996 was the Ramones' last show, unfortunately. Connor Newell, there you go, Connor. What's going on, buddy? So that was it. The last day the Ramones played. All right, so today we saw it's Fresh Breath Day. So I brushed my teeth right before we did this so that I have fresh breath. It's also Social Engineering Day. Now, I did have to look that up because I didn't know what that was concerned about, but it's about cybersecurity. So it's supposed to be how you protect yourself and how you keep your social networks and all your cybersecurity safe. So that's what the Social Engineering Day is. It's also Wiggle Your Toes Day. So all you foot fetish people, get out there and wiggle your toes. Not me, not a foot guy. And it's Root Beer Float Day. And I discussed that earlier yesterday. The root beer float, not a huge thing. I did get some mint chocolate chip Haagen-Dazs ice cream that I will be enjoying after this. So at least I'm having something, and I'll float it on a river of fudge from Mally's or something. I don't know, but not a big root beer float guy. Maybe if it's from Stewart's on the boardwalk, sure. But I did have a hot dog tonight. Sorry, I lost 36 minutes of my life. So that's exactly what it takes away. And I had a lot, actually. I took a picture, but I forgot to upload it. Sorry. Yes, I grill a whole thing of Hebrew Nationals tonight because I busted out the grill. Tomorrow is National IPA Day, so you can enjoy the IPAs. It's also National Purple Heart Day. I will not be participating in that, but everyone, Purple Hearts, good job. It's Raspberries and Cream Day. A lot of raspberries. It must be in season, so there's all these raspberry days. Remember, it was raspberry cake the other day and raspberry something the other day. And it's also Sea Serpent Day. Now, I didn't look into what National Sea Serpent Day is tomorrow, but I'll have to look it up. But, it's definitely anything that's in the water with you in the ocean is a sea serpent. If you've ever been to the ocean, unless it's that crystal clear azure water of the Caribbean, if you're in the Atlantic, it's typically not crystal clear, and you cannot see your feet once you're into like your shins. So anytime something bumps into you, it's a sea serpent. Clearly, it's not it's not a pool noodle because you can't see it, but you don't know what that thing is that just bumped into you in that murky water. So obviously it's a sea serpent of some sort that is nefariously wanting to eat you or submerge you or do something nefarious. So that is why never trust a fish. It's also National Lighthouse Day. There's a really great lighthouse in Cape May, New Jersey, where I'd like to go visit all the way down the Jersey Shore, the beach, but there's lots of ones in North Carolina and everywhere else too. So enjoy your lighthouse if you're a lighthouse person. All right, so things that happened on this day. So a couple of the first one I had to laugh at because the Confederates in 1864, the Confederates were forced to evacuate Fort Powell at Mobile Bay. Why is that so significant? Well, because if you remember yesterday, Rear Admiral David Farragut said, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." So I just wanted to say that again because he kicked their ass and they had to get their butts out of there because remember he was in the not Confederate Army. So, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Good old Rear Admiral David Farragut. So, yes, we talked about that last night. He kicked their ass. This guy was a wild man. So, there you go. In 1890, Cy Young debuted for Cleveland. That's the Cy Young Award guy, Cy Young. I didn't know that he played for Cleveland. I had no idea. Since I'm not a big baseball fan or sports guy to begin with, I was not aware that he was actually debuted in Cleveland. Look at that, another Cleveland thing. And I guess it started that when he died in 1956 is when the Cy Young Award actually then became a thing. and it's annually given out to the best pitcher in Major League Baseball every year since 1956. Cy Young. Had no idea. Now I do. 1890, William Kemmler, murderer William Kemmler, was the first person to die in the electric chair. That happened in Auburn Prison in New York. I only found that to be interesting because that's just one of those things. You know, someone had to be first. That's not one of the things you want to be first for. I want to be the first one to go in the electric chair. Yeah, no, that's not where my first is. I don't want that first. 1939, Dinah Shore showed premiered on NBC Radio. So Dinah Shore was sort of like the first talk show host, radio type thing. The Larry Kings of the world, the Oprah Winfrey's of the world, all that was Dinah Shore. She was the first to kind of do that. 1945, we talked about this a little bit because of the USS Indianapolis. 1945, 80 years ago today, the Enola Gay dropped the little boy A-bomb on Hiroshima, killing, they said, about 170 to 190,000. Read that. I fell down the rabbit hole, so I didn't have a ton prepared because I read just tons about that today. Just crazy. We do it again in a couple days with Nagasaki, and that pretty much ends the war. But yeah, the amount of people that died, and still lots of controversy about us doing it and everything else. But 80 years ago, kind of nuts. So if you're interested, read about it, because that's definitely our history. 1960 on this day, Chubby Checker does the twist on the Dick Clark Show, setting off a firestorm worldwide craze for the twist. Good old Chubby Checker. Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. So that's interesting that happened then. In 1962, Jamaica, after 300 years of British rule, gets its independence. So happy Independence Day to Jamaica. That's if you ever wondered when Jamaica gets their party day, today is their party day. It is August the 6th. Happy Independence Day to Jamaica. Yaman. In 1965, Help, the Beatles' fifth album, is released in the UK. Soundtrack of the movie as well. Also, the Voter Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination against minorities, is signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson. How's that holding up? Just saying, 60 years ago, history repeats itself, or not. 1966, Muhammad Ali KOs English boxer Brian London. I only found that interesting because he's the English boxer named Brian London. I had to look and be like, wait, so is that Brian London? Like, is that his, nom de plume, his stage name? No, apparently that was his name, Brian London, the boxer from the UK. But that allowed Ali to become and continue being the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. 1970, the Festival for Peace, which was in accordance of, they were celebrating the Hiroshima bombing and protesting it. Janis Joplin, Creedence Clearwater, Steppenwolf, Paul Simon, Miles Davis, and more at Shea Stadium on the anniversary of Hiroshima, 25th anniversary of Hiroshima in 1970. And I've talked about Shea Stadium before. One of these days, they're going to talk about the Who concert in Shea Stadium. I'm going to have to call my friend Fred. He'll remember some of the details of that insane adventure to go see the Who at Shea Stadium, because it was completely insane. Again, I've never been to a concert at a stadium that allows you to bring in coolers. I mean, bring it in, boys. Nobody checked anything. So you can imagine what happened. And then France, 1970, the balls of France tested a nuke. I guess they did not have any historical significance to understand that maybe a little deference, not testing a nuclear bomb on the anniversary of the first nuclear bomb being actually dropped. I guess they're like, we got one too. We can blow shit up. Look. Just saying. 1973, Stevie Wonder is in a car crash in North Carolina. Now, my question was, clearly, it wasn't him driving, right? I mean, that would be a problem. That's why he got into a car crash, yes? I mean, Stevie Wonder is blind. Just saying. Just saying. But he was in a coma for 4 days after the crash. Obviously recovered, and we're glad for that, but yes, those were those things. When I first read it, Stevie Wonder in car crash, I'm like, of course he's in a car crash. Why would you put a man who's blind behind the wheel of anything? He can't drive it. He doesn't know where he's going. Just saying. 1991, Tim Berners-Lee describes the idea for the World Wide Web and releases the www for everyone to use as the precursor for what we now have as the World Wide Web. But that's whose name came up with this thing. Tim Berners-Lee apparently described the www. I had no idea. Then I said 1996, the Ramones' last concert, Hollywood, California. Ah, sad. 2006, Blue's Clues on Nickelodeon ends a 10-year run. I didn't realize it was that long ago. Blue's Clues. I think I have Blue's Clues socks. I watched a little bit, but I wasn't like a huge fan. But yes, I have Blue's Clues socks. I definitely do. In 2012, there was a large fire at the Chevron oil plant. The only reason I bring it up because it was in Richmond, Ohio. There you go. Just because it was there. In 2015, Jon Stewart signed off as host of The Daily Show. Today was the last Daily Show by Jon Stewart 10 years ago. And in 2023, Barbie passes $1 billion globally, which is crazy. Also, Greta Gerwig, who is the person of directing, creating, and doing Barbie, is the first female to solo do such a thing. So that's why I want to be first. I want to be first at something like that, not first in the electric chair. There's a big difference, and I can see where I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that one first. It doesn't seem like that's the way to go, personally, anyway. Birthdays today: Pat McDonald of Timbuk 3. The future is so bright, I've got to wear shades. Pull out my shades. No. Ginger Spice. Her birthday today. Gree Horner. Well, I screwed that up. I wrote it down, but anyway. Oh, well. Ginger Spice, we'll leave it at that. Lucille Ball. Her birthday today. Lucy, you got some splaining to do. Those are really funny shows if you ever go back and find some of them. It was definitely ahead of its time. Lucille Ball was definitely an actor that was ahead of her time. She was really funny in the slapstick that she did in her sight gag comedies. It's just very interesting how she was definitely a pioneer for a lot of other comedians, both male and female. Also birthday today, Andy Warhol. Very famous Andy Warhol, all sorts of things. M. Night Shyamalan. Was he coming? Has he had anything recently? The one I thought was the interesting one. I know that that aging one was really kind of interesting, where they're on the island and they aged. But the one where the trees made them like commit suicide because of like the pollen or something. That one I always thought was like more realistic than just about anything, because I'm like, I could see that. Why what if the trees had some sort of, activation of pollen or something that made us crazy? Why not? I mean, that could very much happen, I think. We're definitely susceptible to that stuff. The neighbors have bamboo, which is insane. It grows. I mean, it's probably, almost 30 feet tall in some places. And it's just, you can't kill it. You knock this stuff down and it grows in another spot, and then you dig it up and you burn it with fire and it still grows the next year and more. But every time if you move around it, you'll cough after. I'm like, and it's not like there's dust and it doesn't have pollen. I think it's just like the stuff on the leaves. It gives like this little, and almost, you can't see it, but it for some reason makes me cough. So I'm assuming that there's something on the leaves, like little particulates of something. But yeah, I always found that to be an interesting one, that could be something realistic in that respect. Oh, okay. His movie last year, Trap. I haven't seen that one yet, so I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Trap. I'll have to look it up. It's hit or miss, The one where they had I forget the name of it, but it's where they had the preserve, where the people moved that were rich and moved into the preserve. I thought that was a good one. That was an interesting one for sure. The little twist. You go to the cities. I forget that name, but anyway. And then JonBenet Ramsey, her birthday today. Still a mystery. Whatever happened to JonBenet Ramsey? No one knows. I think it was the brother. He had too much access. All right, people that died today. John Hughes. Today is the anniversary of John Hughes' death. Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Good classic fun movies. Also, I'm Rick James, bitch. The passing of Rick James, super freak. And then Asher Watkins. Who's Asher Watkins, you want to know? He died today, apparently. Apparently, Asher Watkins was a millionaire trophy hunter from Texas and would kill big game for sport. And apparently, big game killed him. He spent $10,000 to go to Africa and to go hunt a water buffalo or some sort of big thing, and it gored him to death. So there you go. Karma. Big game hunter killed by the big game. I just found that one to be very interesting. Kind of like, okay, there you go. Maybe there is karma. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. The Village. Yes, The Village. That was the one. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that one. That was a good movie. I like that one. That one was fun. I thought it was interesting. Did I tell you about this? Right there. This side. I forget. It's always this side. I have to cross my left. Just go and comment, all right? Just go to the episodes and comment at this point. That's all I'm going to tell people to do. I did leave a message for the production company today. Say, hey, so any other projects you want to work on with you? But yeah, just make comments, because at this point, that's the only thing that's gonna I think save me. I don't think it's gonna get saved, because I don't know if they screwed up the algorithm or what they did, or but since there's no more new episodes coming out, we want to try to increase people to go see it. I know they've got to push it out there, and Steven's doing a great job. Steven's got 13 million followers, so he's got his pushes are out there. We just need more subs and then more episodes, clearly, because now it's like you've got people's tastes and their whistles are wetted, and we need to get that out there. I said if I would actually this would ever happen, there would be a season 2, an episode 2, anything. Absolutely, there's no way that I won't take someone with me as a photographer for B-roll for me and create a whole side series on the stuff that went on. There was so much, just the rich sort of tapestry of things that went on. That was like I said, like the Chicago trip, where I took me, like a half-hour drive to go try and get the truck parked, and then it was an adventure. Don't get me wrong, it was an adventure. But then riding back, my Uber driver was a cop, which was great. I mean, he was really nice. You know, like I said, when I opened up I had bags with me and all my stuff, and I abandoned this van. Literally, it was just so crazy where I had to park it. It was out in this where all the 18-wheelers were, and at the end there's like this little fenced-in cage, and it was parkyourtruck.com, and I was like, okay, and I was the only one in this caged in area, so I just kind of backed it up like, is this going to be safe here? Because it was a little bit sketchy neighborhood. It's some side of Chicago. I don't know which side. But, here comes the driver, and he was a cop, because I opened up the back to put it in. And, there's his flak jacket, says police on it. And, he's got the stars on it, and there's his belt and everything. And, really nice guy, all tatted up. We talked as I drove and just asked him what he does. And, he just talked about how tough it was policing in Chicago. Grew up there and everything. And, the whole side stuff was its own adventure. Trying to park in Cleveland and then stealing the cone. Driving and then sitting around and, finding my own adventures while they were shooting, because, it wasn't really, I didn't need to be there. So, I explored the neighborhoods a little bit when I got out of the van. Went for a walk when I was in Pittsburgh and found this cool neighborhood and strolled around. They broke the key to the Audi, so I found an Audi dealership. Just walked to the Audi dealership. I'm like, hey, can you fix this key? It's from a rental car. And, they were like, sure. And I was like, wait, can I get a coffee from the Keurig? So I'm just hanging around the Audi dealership. And so I definitely would take someone with me or find someone to do dailies and just shoot B-roll. So I would have a ton of B-roll, because then I could create my own episodes on top of this for the guy in the van. As part of then what I did later was, going to all these other restaurants myself when I drove across the country. And looked for Heinz specifically. Like I did when I went to Jake's on the Lake in Lake Tahoe, and the waiter was a total jackass because it was probably, out of season. The winter skiers were gone and the summer, boaters weren't there yet. So, this was just sort of in between. And, surfer dude was just like, sup, man? I'm like, how's it going? Hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, can I go? No, man, I can't do that. I'm like, well, can I just, I just want to get a, no, man, I can't do that. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then he was gone, and I'm just like, okay, I'd love to get the check anytime now. And he's just behind the bar, chatting up the waitress. So all that stuff, that B-roll, I think would have been funny in its own thing. Right, Randy's side quest. I think that would have been exactly. I just didn't do it because I didn't think about it until afterwards, because I didn't know what to expect at all. And that's my bad. I mean, I had all the equipment. I could have easily done it on my own and self-narrated, but I just didn't even think to do it, which is stupid. I should have totally done that. But I didn't know what it was going to be as a driver, what my responsibilities were going to be, and how much involvement I would actually have. So I really didn't go into this thing knowing much. So I was clearly unprepared for it. But yes, Randy's side quest. That would be it. Right there, Randy's side quest. Damn it, Don. Where were we? Why weren't we brainstorming about this ahead of time? I could have had my side quest all planned out. But yes, that. So please go to episodes and just make comments. More Randy. RANDSANITY. Love this guy. Hate this guy. He's the worst. No, don't say that part. We don't want to say that. That would not benefit me in any way, shape, or form. Just saying. I did not fall down any social media rabbit holes today, except for the Hiroshima one. I stayed away from social media. I did not look at it. My addiction was not profound today, so I did not do it. I did look at when the full moon was going to happen, because I can feel it. I feel when the full moon's coming, because for some reason it has a very visceral effect on me. So I looked at it. It's on the 9th. I'm like, well, of course it is. It's like 3 days away, because I can tell. I mean, I literally can tell when the full moon's coming. Lunacy, the pull of the water, because we're mostly water. according to me. Again, you can read it other places, but I always was understanding that lunatic is because, hospitals are more full during full moons and people are a little crazier. People just get a little bit wound up during the full moon because it just pulls on us. And I didn't read about the spaceship that's flying through the cosmos headed this way with aliens who are going to do whatever. Because, again, that's, I just didn't. But I did read somewhere that, there's something that's going to come close to us in X amount of years and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think it's in my lifetime, but something has a 4% chance of hitting the moon. And all right, super. Who knows, right? Randy to go. Randy's side dish. Catch up with Randy. Catch up with Randy. Now, see, there you go. That's a good one. Randy's side dish. Well, I don't know. That one may get misconstrued. I may have get an R rating for that one, Randy's side dish. And ready to go. Ready to go, maybe. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to have to think on these now. But Randy's side quest, that's an interesting one. Catch up with Randy. Now, that's. I like that one. That one would fit with the Heinz verified. It's catch up with Randy. Catch up with Randy. I'll have to make a stinger for that one. Go stop at just half a dozen restaurants just to get a little thing where I can make like that montage. Hey, you never know. Crazier things have worked and happened, right? Randy a la carte. I don't know. I think that's going to be that would be the Demolition Derby. Randy's a la carte. I'm determined to try and make that happen. September 6th. So I've got about a month. I've got about 4 weeks to figure that whole thing out. Either to find a crappy car, gut it and enter it, or find some good soul who lets me drive their Demolition Derby car, which I would rather have my own personally. You could drive out there and just abandon it. Okay, just leaving this here now. Probably can't do that. But, who knows? I mean, maybe there's the American Heart Association or, somebody that wants to take it and they can scrap it and make a few bucks that they can then donate to their charity. There's charities here that do that. So there's got to be somebody that's got a crappy old car that they're just willing to part with for no money that I can just wreck. It doesn't need to go fast. It just needs to go. It can be dented. I mean, dented's fine. It doesn't need to be not dented. Actually, it's going to be dented. Broken window, no problem. Broken windows, fine. Maybe I could get a Kia from the impound lot. One that has, the Kia boys have taken and wilded with. It doesn't need to have an inside anymore. It can't, actually. They want all the plastic taken out. Goodwill saying, well, maybe trade them a sponsorship for a car. Possibly, right? This car donated by Goodwill. Gonna wreck it? Don't know. It's worth a try. It's worth a try. It always is. So it's Wednesday, middle of the week. I would tell you tomorrow's episode, but it's not. There is no episode tomorrow. So review one of the episodes tomorrow. Go to. And then we can go ahead and create a highlight reel. Which, again, because there was no... The big reveal at the headquarters wasn't there. There's not really much to make a good sizzle reel out of. My friend Adam was going to do that for me, but that's... We'll see. There's nothing really there to do that. Maybe I can get the cutting room edits, but they probably don't want to release that. Who knows? All I can do is ask, right? And they can just say, no. Just saying. Anyway, see, I'm going to keep this one too, right around 30 minutes as well. Because I don't have anything crazy to bring on that's from myself. Because, again, it's just been a very busy work week. So I have not had a lot of RANDSANITY to add to this just because it has been that kind of a week. But I'm working on finding stuff to do so that I can have some RANDSANITY. See, it's the catch-22 because I'm stuck in this cycle right now of having to work, and my work is, because we all have to work, but the work I have to do, it entails such physical that I'm stuck in doing something where I don't get like, oh, I get a lunch break and just leave for an hour. Well, if I leave, I'm covered in dirt. Like I had to scrub down today, twice because I was in an attic that had old slate roof at one point. So the floor in the back part where I was working was just slate dust everywhere. So when I was sweating, this is gross, but I was sweating, the sweat was running because I had knee pads on because I was, in this little crawl space. And but when I was sweating, when I would come up, the sweat would drip down my leg and it would make a clean spot because it was so dirty. And I had dirt rings, like when you're a kid. I had dirt rings in my, where your elbows meet, like where your little folds of skin are because there was so much dirt. Yeah, I know. When I'm talking about dirt rings, it feels like, I should probably go. So I will. I appreciate you, friends. Thank you for being here. Thanks for enjoying my craziness. Try and do good things. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy world at the moment. And don't go big game hunting. You never know when the big game will actually hunt you. Thank you. As per always, fade to black. Oh, must find car to crash. All right, back to the remotes.